exactly what you're talking about in terms of the potential for further tariffs. And I've seen anywhere between 10 and 60% when it comes to the former President Trump's suggestions on an imposition of a China tariff. Let's split it down the middle almost. Let's assume that it's, actually, you know what? Let's assume there's even 10% in terms of China tariffs. How significant would this be for these China internet names if we're assuming the most conservative estimate from a prospective president that could get re-elected again?
I think there is a two level of implication, right? One is those who have like an overseas exposure, who have like a selling export directly to the U.S. 10% tariff, I think first they already have a pretty competitive pricing versus its competitor. So this can be kind of an offset partly. Second is that they are in the process of building more efficient, like a supply chain, local warehouse, rather than going through like air. They're actually going through shipping for some of the product as well. These are also help them to optimize the cost that can offset part of the impact, let's say as a 10% tariff. So this is the first implication, which can be mitigated by the price advantage, supply chain advantage, and also measures to optimize this cost. The second implication is more on the domestic economy, right? You have a tariff on all the export from China, definitely will hurt part of the export company in China and the economy as well. That will have to see whether they have like a broader implication of the economy that would potentially hurt the other internet company, which, like I mentioned earlier, they are also macro sensitive. E-commerce domestically, advertising, online game, local service that are also macro sensitive.
Can I just ask you, because the online game side of these tech names is relatively easy. If the regulatory environment is good, then they're generally going to be doing well. So I want to stick on the e-commerce because we've only got time for one more. At what point, or is there going to be a looming pressure point when it comes to they're able to operate the way that they're able to operate because they can squeeze suppliers to some extent? We've heard a number of these suppliers say, I've got no other choice, I have to be selling on these services. But how long is that sustainable when you're talking about the JDs, the PDDs, the Alibabas of the world, in terms of that model? Because it's so dependent, that model, on being able to expand rapidly overseas and outcompete everyone else, but at the same time, there has to be a tipping point, doesn't there, where those suppliers just can't tolerate it and then they're going to have to sacrifice some of that margin?
I do agree with you. Ultimately, you need a healthy ecosystem that the platform, the merchant, and then customer kind of balance, right? What they can get ultimately that the merchants can make money, the platform can make money. So this is more like a sustainable business model. But I think this is it inevitable for this process to go on, right? The most efficient company left behind. So those who hear that are difficult to operate are those relatively less efficient. They probably don't have the scale. So they either improve the scale, be more focused on the SKU, improve the efficiency, potentially will get lower margin, or they need to kind of run out of business. So I would say this process is cruel. It will continue because this is a market that is consolidating. But I do agree that longer term, you need to basically strike a balance between a healthy ecosystem of merchants being profitable and platform being able to earn their decent platform income.